I have seen a vision of thy glory, Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. The fog must be cleared from the mind before the clear vision can be seen. If you seek the psychic alone, you get lost in phenomena and images. If you live in your mind alone, you become intellectual and clear vision is impossible. Intellectuals are mostly steeped in idolatry. They can never get away from their own ideas and beliefs. You must recognize the difference between head learning and soul wisdom, and the difference between what the eye sees and the heart knows. What most people believe to be true is often entirely false. This is the cause of much conflict and complex minds. Few can discern the false from the true for the simple reason that the intellect can never give you the knowing of the spirit. To change your belief from one belief to another does not free you, but makes you still a prisoner in your illusion. If I say to you that God is love, God is healing, God is life, you readily accept this, yet if your mind is clogged with beliefs, you will never understand the wholeness of life, the completeness of life, and the true meaning of what I say is lost. You will see now what I am trying to show you. If you accept God is love, God is healing, etc., those are but half-truths, because you make this a belief only in your mind, and that is not truth. It may be a truth, but it is not the truth that sets you free. When you become aware of the self, the mind may be under your control, but even this control is contraction and not expansion. To be aware of the self is but a half-truth. If you no longer limit the I am to the narrow boundaries of conditions in which you are involved, you will begin to realize truth. This will lead you to the true nature of the self, unfettered and free. This must not be an idea of freedom, but a knowing of freedom, realizing the wholeness of life, the one in which all have the liberty of life. The old original sin of Eve, the soul, is the belief in evil as having a substantial originating power, and the soul believes that it is under the control of this evil, having its climax in death. No destruction of life can come from the fountain of life, therefore death does not exist in life but in man's mind. Thus fear of death has been played upon to man's detriment throughout the centuries, and because of man's belief in death, many are led to believe that they can buy their passport into eternal life, and the more that they can pay, the better it will be for them. Darkness is but the absence of light. The truth is the light that lighteth everyone who comes into the world. Ignorance is the absence of wisdom, thus most people mistake the law of transition for death. So you see, death is a belief created in the mind and becomes the illusion, a prison of your own making. God is one, the only one life, indivisible in nature, therefore not one part of life can be destroyed. In fact, not one particle of substance can be destroyed, it only changes its form through the law of transition. Life, the presence, is never in opposition to itself in any human being, therefore we must recognize the self in all other selves. If we fail to do this, we lose ourselves in separation, which also becomes a prison of our own making. When we feel in any way separate from others, we live in the illusion of death, and this means sorrow and conflict. Our transgression is the illusion that there can be any living originating power outside the I am. When we see that this is impossible, we realize that evil and death have no power over us. Therefore we cease to react to it, hence we are free from it. As long as we limit the I am to the narrow boundaries of the relative and conditioned, we do not realize that, personified in ourselves, it must by its very nature still be unfettered and free, as acting with the one creator of the universe. Beware lest you make him relative and lose the reality of your own being. As long as we limit the I am, we shall never get out of the fear of death which we impose upon ourselves, and this fear of death makes all our ailments gigantic in proportion to what they really are. Our creative power must be God's creative power, because there can be no other. The only difference is in the degree of recognition of this power. The world is praying to a God outside. It asks but receives not because it asks amiss. God is spirit, and we must worship him in spirit and reality, and this reality is within us, not apart from us. Our living proves the presence. To get best results, all tension must be taken off the mind. Before we can transform our condition, all tension must be taken off mind and body, and this can only be done when we truly realize what Jesus meant when he said, I and the Father are one. It is the Father who ever remains within me, he doeth the work. When all strain is taken away, nature begins to do her own work, expressing her own perfection. One should not become anxious about one's condition, nor try too hard to get well. Remember, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. For it is not what you want you get, but what you think deeply, then realize that divine life fills you. The soul is the inner vehicle of the deathless, immortal creative spirit. This is your immortality. It neither knows death nor sickness. With this realization you go from glory to glory in an eternal progression. Every atom in your body has come from its own solution in boundless space, and all will return to that solution because it is part of it. Not one atom can be destroyed. Science has proved that which we term matter but know very little about, is composed of atoms, and atoms are composed of electrically charged particles which derive their existence from the nucleus of the atom, and science now says that this nucleus has a nucleus within itself, pointing to the fact that all must rise from that sea of intelligent energy that fills boundless space, the Absolute expressing himself in himself and by himself. Thus we are made in his image and likeness. I know that it is difficult for some to discern impersonally their own thoughts, but this must be done before harmony can be established, and the I Am must be freed from the illusion of limitation and fear. You should under no circumstances try to banish a thought from your mind nor fear it, but quietly discern it carefully. Do not disturb your thinking but become aware of your thoughts. By practice, you will be able to dissolve any idea or thought, and above all you will know what you are thinking about. Your beliefs you will see are but an external creation of your own, or what you have conformed to through the belief of another who is also in prison. You will know that they are not truth. You will readily see that the mind is steeped in illusion. You will become aware of the hindrances by confronting them, by discerning them, by penetrating them, and with your pure thinking you will free yourself from them, and by doing so you will realize that harmony, that poise, that understanding of the indescribable. One thing is sure, you will cease to have divisions. No longer will you have differing creeds and cults. You will no longer think in accordance with a belief that separates you from others. You will see these facades for what they are, for the presence cannot be divided against itself. What you must do is to discern these hindrances, but do not fight them, nor pacifically endure them, but become conscious of their falseness. You can become free only by examining them with your mind utterly free from all attachment, free from prejudice, free from beliefs. There can be no comparisons because you cannot compare the truth with the relative, for this is just further delusion. If your mind is suffocated with demands for conformity, you will be incapable of true understanding. The presence requires no effort, neither has it to discipline itself into action, it itself is pure action. In this then is freedom for the individual who realizes it. I have seen a vision of thy glory. Benediction. Divine Presence, thou art the fragrance that streams from our hearts, ennobling our souls. The stream of thy love fragrance washes away all separation which has been the cause of our sorrow and conflict. Divine love, fill our consciousness with thy presence so that our hearts will beat with thine, to rest in thy omnipresence forever and forever. My peace and my love remain with you. Yours sincerely, 𝗦 MacDonald-Bayne.